I'm Rebecca.
I'm Caitlin.
I'm Nessa.
This is the Family Showdown! Why, hello there. Welcome back to my top 100 games of all time. We're here today to discuss 60 through 51. The best of the worst, as they like to say.
He stole my line.
I know.
I was ready to jump
I know
out with
you were.
that.
I could feel you like twitching. He's like... So, got some good games. Because, again, they're getting increasingly better and better. Why? Because we're counting down to the awesomest games. In my opinion. Your opinion doesn't count in this one. Just saying.
I don't know. Last group was pretty solid, so we'll see what happens.
Okay. I don't think you'll complain too much about this. I think you like a lot of the games in this one.
We'll see.
Yeah. So, this one, I think, got rewarded by cherished memories and the desire to play it again.
Cherished memories.
Yes, cherished memories of go-to two-player games. This one went up from 113 to 60. I don't think we've played it recently. So all I can think is that I really, really, really want to play it badly. Because I love this game. We played it a lot for a while. And then we quit playing it for a while. And now I want to play it again. And that is...
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun.
Oh.
The longest title ever. Uwe Rosenberg's Agricola, All Creatures, Big and Small. Not to be confused with the set of books, All Creatures, Great and Small, which is also a really awesome read if you like animals. You like animals to play with in a board game, though. This is your best bet. Good two-player game by our buddy Uwe. Crazy tight rounds. So it takes the like farming element out of Agricola, and now you've got this little game worker placement battle two-player style where you're trying to build up little pens and stuff and put your animals in and get lots of animals, and they therefore are victory points. In fact, if you're not sure how many victory points, on the side of the box, they give you a little key that tells you how many victory points per animal, etc., etc. It's very cool. So, the box even helps you. Handy dandy. Now, this is back in print.
Yes, they have a big box that has all the expansions.
That has everything. When we got this, it was crazy out of print, and Hunter did some mad wheeling and dealing overseas even, I think, to get an expansion.
I believe
for
one expansion I got from Italy and the other one I got from France.
It was kind of exciting to get the international mail. It's like, ooh, what's this? But yeah, it was just a little thing full of different buildings you could build. So, and which is really fun, by the way. Now that they come with them naturally in the big box, you won't have that issue. But with the base game, it can get sort of samey if you play it a lot, just because there's a limited amount of buildings and you all are going to fight for the same kind of ones, right? With this, there's a huge variety. The odds that you're going to fight over the same kind of strategy, not as good because, you know, there's a lot of different buildings out there. Now, fighting over the resources, that is universal and will always stay the same because, of course, you're fighting over the same amount of resources to build all of these kinds of buildings with. It's got cute, adorable little wooden bits. They have little critters. You got your sheep and your cows, pigs, horses. Were there dogs in this one too? I can't remember.
No,
I
don't think so.
I don't think there's dogs in this. See, it's just the
Sheep,
horses.
pigs, cows, and horses.
Okay, it's just them. Okay. And then you've got your fences. You got some little fences, little macaroni and cheese colored fences. And then you got your little player bits. And then the rest is history. These are your colored resource coin things. They're wooden chips to represent certain resources. And then you've got masses and masses of buildings. All these building choices. And what do you put them on? Cute little boards with space for them. And these beautiful little lovely pastures.
Those are the extensions.
Those are the extensions. I know. I'm not digging out the whole box. Oh, I guess I am. What are you doing? I'm not digging it out. I'm not digging it out. It basically is a bigger version of the extension. Really cool game. A lot of really great options. It's one of those things where you don't have oh man, there's nothing I can do now. There's always a plan B. The thing is, you want to do the most streamlined thing possible because the turns are so incredibly tight in this game. So if you do get, you know, a spot stolen from you, it could set you back significantly. You may want to switch gears. You know, it's one of those really tight decision-making games. A lot of fun. All creatures, big and small.
189.
Wow. Apparently you don't want to play this again anytime soon.
Well, I was going to say that she already mentioned it. She's beaten me the punch a lot tonight. Basically, the before the big box version or whatever they call it came out, where you get the expansions in the base game, basically. Yeah. This was probably one of the most needed expansions of any game we own, because and that's the reason I sought them out so desperately, because you only start, there's only a handful of little special buildings in the base game, and I think the 2 expansions add like 12 more special buildings,
and that makes a huge difference in the game. I mean, the replayability is high now. I almost felt like, and there wasn't one way to win, but it really felt like there was a best way to win with just those few buildings. So good improvement, a lot of fun. Much easier for you guys to find than it was for us. So my number 59 has also gone up, and I think that's because I had some really fun plays with it, and haven't gotten to play it since the pandemic hit. Really aching to play it again, too. And that is Banned Words. Okay, didn't get this game for the longest time, because looking at the box, I was like, oh, this is going to be Cards Against Humanity, some kind of adult After Dark game or something, right? It looks like that. So we kind of were like, okay, whatever. Then we started hearing people talking about it, and we looked up what the rules were, and we're like, wait a second, this sounds really cool. It's a word game, and your teams are duking it out. So you're trying to get your teammates to guess these words. Meanwhile, the other team is trying to guess what words you're going to use as clues. And they get points as you're getting points if you happen to use the words that they have written down. So there's this really big urge to succeed. At the same time, you want to do it in a very strange, roundabout way, because you don't want the other team...
Give obscure clues.
Yeah, you're going to give obscure clues, because obviously if, say, one of the cards said KFC... they're going to be like, chicken. You know, I mean, like, they're going to put, like, so you don't want to say
fast
chicken.
Food, restaurant.
Yeah, you don't want the obvious stuff, right? You want to kind of work your way around. And it's just, it's hilarious. It's so much fun, because as soon as you say something, you know, the other team's your teammate's guessing furiously, and the other team's going, yeah! Because they got words that you were guessing with. It's a lot of fun. It's a really great party atmosphere kind of game. A lot of fun. And this is one, honestly, I think they say, do they have a player count?
No, it's
4 or more. Yeah, I'm glad they put that, because you could do any number with this, really and truly.
Well, size of
for teams.
The table would probably be.
Yeah, you can fit it in a room or something.
Maybe, I don't know.
I'm contemplating a way to play this digitally. I'm thinking might be a way to do that. You just need separate chats and stuff. Anywho, that being said, I think you could do this with breakout rooms and stuff. I think it's a possibility. It's just a hoot. I really want to play it again. That's my 59 banned words. Let me guess, it's not on your list.
It's not on my list.
We're really shocked by
this. I'm the rules reader in our.
Oh, geez, here we go.
Our person.
Here we go.
I'm in charge of rules for most of the game days and stuff like that. I don't like nebulous rules, and this game has very nebulous rules.
I see, and this is where we argue, because I didn't really think they were that nebulous. Because somebody's splitting hairs.
Because what did you say? One of the words is chicken. That chicken. You put that as one of your clues for KFC.
Yeah.
What if I say chicken rama?
It's not the same word.
Technically, it's a variation of the word, and they don't define what means by variation of a word. Yeah. Geez. So I suppose it's supposed to be the spirit of the rules, but
so kill your rules lawyers and then play.
It's a fun game. I like the concept of the game. It's just they need more. You almost have to house rule how you're going to play the game.
House rule your rules lawyers, and you play just fine.
Chicken rama.
I'm going to chicken rama you next time we play this game.
Kentucky Fried Chicken Rama.
Oh my gosh. No. All right. Next one on the list, I played with you.
What?
That's right.
What?
You.
What?
It was 77 last year.
What?
But we've had some fun plays, including with you.
Oh my
and
goodness.
my 58 is Timeline Challenge. Oh my goodness. Okay. So first of all, I really like the timeline games. Yeah, they're simple. All you get is a deck of different cards that have scientific discoveries, and then on the other side of them, they'll have the year that scientific discovery occurred, and you got a cool little picture on the other side, and like the words, polio vaccine. Okay, and you have to guess, and you're laying out a timeline, putting them in order by date, and if you get it right, you get to keep your card in the timeline, and the first person out of cards wins. If you get it wrong, take that card and trash it, and you have to draw a new card into your hand, and you have to wait around to your next turn to try again. Really cool game. Simple game, though, right? This makes it a full-blown board game. It's now become like Timeline, the game show, and you've got all these little mini games like how many years apart are these two cards, and you have to guess, and whoever's closest, they get to move ahead on the track. Or what's the century that this card was in, and this card, you get like 4 cards, and you have to put them in chronological order. Just really cool little mini games like that with the timeline cards, and the first person obviously to the finish line is the victor. So it's a race. And what is really fun about this is we have dumped all of our timeline cards now in here. Sure, if we want to play just timeline, we can just open this up and grab some cards. But this has the entire timeline collection inside now. So you never know what you're going to get out of this, and it's a lot of fun. The only thing that you have to pull out of those regular timeline cards to play this game is anything that's beyond triple digits BC.
No, you can do 4 digits, 10,000. That's 5 digits.
Oh, that's true. It's 5.
You can do
negative
9999.
That's right.
You can't go further back than that.
Yeah, because you have little.
And it's really a very finite number of cards that actually have that.
3 or 4 or 5. It's not very many.
Well, with all our sets, I think we ended up with 20 or 30. But yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So it's a lot of fun. You like Timeline? You want to spice it up a bit? This is the way to go. Super fun, family fun. Probably a little bit tougher for the younger groups that haven't studied much history. That'd be my only thing. So, where is it on your list, Sweetums?
178.
Whoa, it's on the list.
It made the list. It made the cut.
That out. This is a relatively.
It's a fun little game. It's a good party game. A good just sitting around the table, goofing around game.
It's good, throw down against the internet game too. Just saying. All right. My number 57 is new this year.
New.
And it's one of my new favorite designers, I'm thinking. The way things are going.
New favorite designer?
Not an absolute favorite, I'm saying, but he's up designer. He's up in the top ranks right now. And that is Turksy with Tawantinsuyu, the Inca Empire. His games are solid. Solid
because all the cardboard in them.
That too. But no, they're heavy. The theme's interesting and different, and I really like the mechanisms in the game. This one's got a tiered platform on it, and you have to pay different.
Faux tiered platform.
That's true. It's not. Well, it's kind of 3D.
It's just It's just.
And no, it's just platform. It looks like it. It's painted to look like it's tiered.
Yes.
You're so picky. I was like, what? What are you... But
yeah, well, I don't want people to think that there's this cool little 3D board.
That's true. Yeah. Here, we'll show you. But you have different costs to get up to the higher tiers and stuff, obviously. So you got to do some resource management. You're so unceremonious here. Okay. So, handy dandy little playmat thingy doodle. That's the technical term for it. And it's a holy goodness of a ginormous board. I'm gonna hold that in.
What am I doing?
I'm just playing Vanna here.
Oh.
Okay, so here's the ginormous board. As you can see, it's tiered. And as you go up, it's gonna cost you more and whatnot. But the cool thing is, wherever you go, you'll land on one of these emblems, and the stuff around you, depending on how much you pay, you're going to get to do 1, 2, or all 3 of the triangulated stuff around you.
So it's based on how many meeples?
Mm-hmm. I said costs vary. But yeah, you pay your little meeple dudes. You have a little cutesy...
No, you put 1 meeple, you get 1 action. You do 2 adjacent meeples of the same colors, you get 2 action. 3 adjacent meeples of the same color, you get 3 action.
Oh, is that...
Et cetera,
okay.
et cetera.
Oh, that's right.
It explodes based on the number
They explode.
Yes.
That's right. Because you get special stuff, too, if it's like a blue dude on the blue ones and stuff like that. I forgot it's color-coded.
Correct.
So, and you get these different resources and whatnot. And the trick to this game is to make the engine out of it. So you're making these things, and you want them to chain and be able to do multiple items. Like, you've got this thing for the stairs. Well, you have to have the resources to build it. Hopefully, you did something like, oh, I got the stone. You can pick the order you do these in and then get these spuds. Now I got some potatoes. You got to pay your people, right? You got to feed them. It's really, really interesting engine builder, and it's pretty tight. The other thing that I think is cool is the victory points chart over here. As you move up it, you move up in this range here, you get instant benefits besides the end game victory points, which is really cool. You get up to this range, though, well, you're just getting mad victory points, you're not getting stuff. At the end of the game, look at the extras. Whew, you can stack up some crazy victory points. Is it easy to get up that? Not necessarily. There's some work involved with that. Then there's also, you see little skulls. You kind of have to sacrifice people to get stuff done.
Yeah, you conquer areas over here with dudes.
Yeah.
You get bonuses. It's just a big, giant engine building
game. It really is. It's just a giant... But the way it goes about building the engine is really fun and different. I haven't been this excited about potatoes in a really long time.
Gotta have the potatoes.
You gotta have the potatoes. It's very important. And you got cute little corn bits. And the cubes for rock is the same as always. Little boring gray squares. But just really neat game. I think it's gonna stick around for a while. It's really smooth play, and I think also the little cheat sheets are very helpful. This is one of those games I suspect when we go back to play it some more is going to require less and less.
It has everything.
reminders.
It has the turn structure, and then each of the different things you can do breaks out exactly how you do each of them, and it's really it's really solid.
It may go up my list. We'll see.
Yeah, you're kind of. The first play, we were kind of just head down on this thing to figure out what we could do and can't do, right?
Yeah. But I think, again, with successive plays, it gets easier and easier. And
you didn't tell them about your statue.
My statue sniping. There's a really cool thing with the statues. They're kind of a twofer because you get some victory points, benefits, whatnot when you first build them. But later on, you can actually... I guess, are you selling them off? Is that what you're officially doing?
You're
like donating
sacrificing
them
to the gods.
I think you donate it to a temple or something. When you do that, you get another round of victory points. So it's really important not to forget about those and just let them sit by you. Because, they're victory points once through, but at the end of the game, you don't get anything extra from it.
It's called worshipping. I looked it up.
Worshipping. Okay, Thank you. And then, so if you worship, it... Oh, man. Yeah. Double up on the victory points. It's a great little thing. Now, it's hard to get to that
but you're
spot
foregoing
again.
that benefit that you get all the time.
They do give you little benefits, but there's a great time. It's just, timing issue there where you're going to pick and choose when is that any use to you anymore. That's a fun one.
Yeah, if you like this style of games, this is another great one. I mean, if you like Tekenu and Zolkin and what's the other one? Teotihuacan.
I was waiting.
You like this one? We played this after I made my list. Just guessing. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking 40s, 50s.
Yeah, so he likes it even more than I do. And it may go up.
I want to play it a couple more times before next year to make sure.
Heck yeah!
I want to play all of them and kind of get a feel for where they land.
Board game marathon. Okay, I have no problems with this. My number 56 was my 108. I think we got another play in this. That or it could be both. Because I didn't check my timeline on that. I may just want to play it again, to be honest. It was 108, now 56, and that is... Dun, dun, dun. I'm giving sound effects for all of them as an intro today. Power Grid. This is a classic. This is for those of you that haven't heard me say it before, this is the game I really shouldn't like, because it is math the game in a lot of ways. This is an incredibly mathy game. You are going through and building power grids to power electricity and energy for your cities. Okay? You also need to have the resources and money and everything to be able to power those once you've built these things. So you have to keep them running after you build them. And hopefully you keep expanding as you go, right? Oh boy, so you need to kind of crank out an engine, but all of this stuff, these are all resources that are, well, some are renewable, some are not. They're non-renewable energy sources. Some of them are okay, some of them are pretty bad for you, and then there's also, nuclear radiation and stuff that you have to deal with, depending on what resource you're using, right? So you have to balance your money really carefully. You have to have the money to be able to buy the power sources that you're going to use, whether it's coal or, wind energy or nuclear power, whatever you're picking. That market has a finite number of those things as well. Then you also have to budget out, because you only get paid once through the entire round. You have to budget out if you're going to purchase another city and build up from there. And you also have to budget out being able to power said things when you're done. So you have like 3 stages of dishing out your money that you need to keep track of before you get another paycheck. So it's one of those games where head down. Thankfully, no one seems to care that I'm like over here sorting little stacks as I'm like planning each section of my round, because it's not something I automatically would be able to do in my head. It's heavy duty. But it's oddly intriguing. It's a really neat logistical puzzle. I don't know. There's just something that's just, and it's timeless classic. I mean, how old is this getting to be now? You said it was like
2004. In fact, I just did a board game breakfast by the numbers, and this is the number 1 game from 2004.
And you know what? Rightly so. It is a good game. It's strangely addictive. I really enjoyed playing it. We've played it at a couple different player counts. I think it's really fun as 2-player, and it's fun as more. It can be really brutal and tight with the resources. Really brutal.
Yeah, it has a whole kind of market, supply and demand market. So like the first few coal cost 3, and then the next ones are 4, and then they go up to 5 and 6 and 7 and 8.
More expensive.
And you can even be kind of mean as long as you have the storage space. You can go, well, I need 4 oil this time, but I can hold 8, and she needs oil too. So maybe I'll buy 8 just to force her to spend more money.
It's rough. It's rough.
And like you said, you're bidding. You almost have to do buckets. It's like, okay, I need this much for resources. I need this. And it's like, okay, now I can bid on my new power plant. I got $20. That's all I can do.
Yeah, and if you see, I mean, I try not to be that person too, because I know I'm making my piles. I try not to look at everybody's piles, but you do kind of know what people have as a limit to bid.
Well, you can look over there,
and you can see what they're missing and what they need, right?
What they have to buy and stuff like that.
So it can be brutal. Amazingly brutal, but it's still, like I said, it's such a good
this
puzzle.
one kind of breaks the mold, because a lot of people who say they don't like mathy games seem to like this for some reason.
Yeah,
and
I'm not alone.
It is crazy, man. It's like almost like you're doing balancing your checkbook each round of the game. It's so funny.
Which I don't find very fun and entertaining, so it's kind of fascinating that this is, right?
But so. you do. I do the same thing, and I like math, but I do the same thing. I budget. I got this much for my resources, this much for this, and this much for that. It's like, okay, I hope I can get one for 15. I'll take the crappiest one that I can get.
Oh, yeah. And we didn't even talk about that. You also are bidding for the energy source cards, as well as the power plants themselves. Yeah. You're bidding.
That's an auction system.
And so there's kind of that little duke it out battle too, as well as buying your energy.
And they get more efficient as the game goes by, and they usually get more
better and better
too.
Mm-hmm. But you want to upgrade your stuff because you have a limited number of spaces for your cards.
Right.
Oh man, it's just crazy good game. And that's why it's still hanging around since 2004.
So it's my 108, and it's slowly just been dropping because I don't remember the last time we played that game.
It's been a while. And
it's been literally years.
Literally
years.
Oh dear. All right, so my number 55 was 69 last year. We had played it, I believe, since.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we had. And it was a lot of fun, and it kind of was the reminder of just what a solid game it is. That is 5 tribes. Five tribes. 5 tribes. This is another one of those Days of Wonder games that is beautiful to look at, as well fun to play with while you're playing it. You did a by the numbers on this about how many ridiculous combinations there are to the game.
I set up the board, a standard board to play.
Sorry.
And I calculated the first move, and I think it was it's going to vary somewhat, but depending on how the board state is. I think there was your first person to go in the game had like 1,600 different choices they can make for their first move.
It was pretty insane. Pretty insane. So, you have this board you make out of stuff. Everything's kind of all messed up right now. But you make a board in the center out of different tiles, and they have different things on them. One of which is, victory points and stuff. So, you're going to go around, and on said board, you're going to have a whole mess of these little guys. Da, 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 da. Different colored meeples. Different colored meeples means different colored actions. And with those actions, you can go in and assassinate other people's meeples. You can go in fact, I think there's a handy dandy cheat sheet for this. What do you know? Merchants. Put your merchants in the bag and draw as many resource cards beginning at the start of the line. Woo! Blue meeples help you build stuff. You get to build these cool little, like, golden palaces, palm trees and stuff. Guess what? They give you extra victory points on the tile that you claim. And it's kind of area control. The more tiles you claim, the more victory points obviously you're going to get, but there's also some other stuff going on with that. And when you place, what's really neat about the turns, all the little meeples are all over the board. The board's already full with them. And you pick up from one square, and you have to set down as you go. And wherever you stop, that's where you put your last meeple. And whatever color the meeple is, that's the action you're going to do. That's where all the combos come in, because this is a analysis paralysis nightmare if you let it get to you like that, because you can
1,600 moves. You can go through that real quick, right?
Yeah. No, you just kind of have to go, that looks good, and go for it, unless you want this to be a 12-hour game. Somehow, some way, we have not succumbed to the AP problem.
Except for the last
turn.
Last couple of turns, I really look at the board, but you only have,
Yeah.
but you're down to 8 to 10 or 12 choices to make. So
Yeah,
you can
it's much better.
You can actually look at all of them and say, okay, this is the best one for me.
And it's just neat, too. There's these Djinn cards that give you these really cool superpowers. They're also worth some victory points, some more than others, depending on how powerful they are. They do some really cool, just wacky things that sometimes you feel like, wow, that really breaks the game. But somebody else gets another one that does something else different that's equally amazing. I don't think... Do we have an expansion for this?
No, we do not.
Yeah, we just have the base game. We've loved playing it because, again, the replayability is insanely high. You've got so many choices at the beginning. So, I don't even know. Is the expansion any good?
Supposedly, but we play this one somewhat infrequently, so it's like...
Yeah, well, plus, I mean, like you said, we like this so much.
And that's all we need is more going on.
Yeah.
We basically made a friendly agreement not to take 5 hours per turn.
Yeah, we really haven't.
Because we actually avoided this game for the longest time because we heard that. And then we said, okay, let's try it, and we're just going to basically limit the amount of time we have for our turns. We played it at a convention. We're like, that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it did. It really did. So you just have to make a conscious effort, or put a timer out if you need to.
Yeah, I usually for my first turn, I go, okay, I want to do blue guys. How can I get like 2 or 3 blue guys in one place? Okay,
yep.
I can get 3 blue guys by moving this. I'm done.
That's my thing too. I usually hone in on where I want to go, that I'm saying, I want to go there. So what can I do to get there that would help me do that action too? So I kind of do
instead of going over, okay, that one gives me that one.
Yeah, I'm just like, this gets me to that place.
There's no way.
And yeah. So it's
the choices can be overwhelming. I mean, if you're really the person who wants to analyze every little thing,
it would not be the game for you.
You don't want to play this game.
Yeah, it is too much in that regard.
Or you want to make a day of it, whichever. I don't know.
Well, that wouldn't be too bad either, because I mean, the choices are really cool. There's a lot of really good choices in the game. So that's 5 tribes.
148.
See, that's just wrong. Did I mention the game's really pretty to look at? I'm a sucker for art. All right.
I'm starting to get worried.
Why?
I have so many games circled that are in my over 110. So many. I mean, there is so many games. And every one I circle is one of my top 100 that is not on your list.
It's going to be exciting.
We're up to like 20, at least 20 or more games in my top 100.
I've got them worried. We're not even halfway there, though.
The after party is going to be hopping.
Oh, man.
All right, let's continue.
So get this. My number 54 was my 54 last year.
Wow. Exacto.
Yeah. and so weird, oddly random. But I can't complain because it's an amazing game, and that game is Great Western Trail. This is another one of those games that even though it runs longer, when we're done, I'm like, I want to play this again. He's having a hissy fit because it's way higher on his list. That's all. How high is it?
I was gonna say boo, but I'd rather say moo. It's about 20.
20.
20. 20.
Solid.
20.
So, here's my problem with it, though. A lot of people call this a deck builder.
It is a deck builder.
It's a cow builder.
What?
It's a cow builder. You don't collect a herd of... Okay.
Yes, you do.
In reality, you don't collect a herd of all the different cows and have, oh, I've got one of each kind. That's not how you get a herd of cow.
Yeah.
No, you usually breed the
I
best.
didn't say the deck building makes sense, but it is a deck builder.
It is a deck builder.
It's kind of a deck builder.
It's a cow builder.
What?
It's a cow builder. I do have to show off our lovely first player token that we decided
They
to add to
can't tell
it.
what that is.
They totally can. It's a plastic cow.
It's all glary and hard to see.
I'll take him out. Come here, Bessie.
Bessie.
I don't know. That's a good name for a cow. See? Stole it from the girls. They weren't playing with it. So, we have Bessie. That's our first player token. And you have this big, ginormous track. Look at this. Player map. Very cool. Very useful player map, by the way. This is another one of those games that's pretty darn heavy. But, once you learn how to play this, jumping back in was crazy
You got the
easy.
expansion board.
I do. I don't want it.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I'm actually kind of meh about the expansion. Hunter loves it. I'm kind of meh because
I don't love it. I like it.
Yeah, that's true. I love the base game. So it was kind of hard for me to change gears a little bit with some of the changes that came with the expansion. I'm just not as good at it for whatever reason. Don't enjoy it as much. But here's the board. And this is the base game. So over here you're going to have all these different engineers and carpenters and cowboys that help you make the cows cheaper, buying your train engine, moving your train cheaper, or building buildings, which is what all these blank spaces are around here. You're going to be building different buildings that help you build up your deck, help you get cows, help you get money from other players, help you collect more cards, draw power for your deck, things of that nature. And what you're going to do is you're going to weave your way through all of these different places, all the way when you get up to Kansas City, where you're going to sell off your cows.
Kansas City.
New York City. That you have a hand of hopefully very different cows, because for each different cow you have, that's more money for you. And you want to get the cows that obviously are...
Moo money.
Moo money. Moo money. Oh, we went there. Okay. So, also you want to start collecting more cows that give you more points, obviously, because the $1 cows, not going to get so much money from them. You want to start getting those big, expensive cows.
Longhorns.
That's right. So, after that, you get to pick. There's going to be some random things here that give you some extra points, and you get to choose from those.
Those are your dudes.
Or dudes, I'm sorry.
And,
there's
and the
dudes and
TP
points.
guys.
Dudes and TP guys. We call them the TPs because they have little TPs over here. Helps you with victory points and set collection. There's some set collection in the game. You also get to come over here and start moving your train. And as you go, you get to fill in spaces and acquire victory points and different things. And you start getting some crazy victory points as you move farther along the track. But you notice that there are fewer and farther in between getting some of these stations. A lot of stuff going on. I mean, I glossed it and didn't even cover everything. That's just how much stuff is going on in this game. It is worker placement. You're kind of racing each other, but it's paced at the same time. You're trying to build up your deck, so it's not that you want to be the first person to Kansas City necessarily. Timing that at the end of the game might be more important. What's really important is that you don't rush going to Kansas City before you've got your best hand built and maximized your turns.
But you don't want to fall too many. You don't want the other players to make a lot more trips than you.
Yeah, because you don't want to be lapped by them, because then they're going to sell off their cows at least one more time than you. So you really got to watch the pacing on it. If somebody's really, flying through, you want to try to keep up a little better. But if everybody's taking their time, you might as well too. I love the way this game plays. It never plays the same way. With the expansion, it changes how the train tracks go. There's a whole bunch of crazy stuff up north of the train track. It added some more buildings. I think it added some cows too, didn't it? Didn't it add a... I can't remember now.
But I will say this. I do enjoy the expansion. It is completely 100% unnecessary.
It really is.
And
The base game's amazing.
I would only get it if you're kind of getting if the game's feeling samey to you. I would consider getting it because it does. A lot of expansions just kind of add more of the same. It kind of adds some things here and there. This expansion kind of bloats it up. There's a lot more decisions. There's lots of new rules on how things play.
Yeah.
It's unnecessary, but I do enjoy it because we've played this many, many, many times, and I want to try something new. And I do enjoy it. It gives you other options. You can almost completely ignore the expansion and still play the game just as well.
I do that sometimes.
So,
when my train game is not so good. But yeah, it is a lot of fun. I really enjoy the deck building aspect of it.
It's much better than, what did you say, 50 what?
54.
Ugh. So bad. I do enjoy that game a lot more than you do, though. I love those crappy cows.
That's right. Move it. All right, moving on to my 53. It's adjusted a little bit. It was 59 last year.
Yeah.
And this year, it's 53.
What are you doing?
I'm showing off.
What are you doing?
My mat of greatness.
This is not the game.
Yes, it is. It's KeyForge. Hunter got me a really cool mat to play with. I love it. Okay, so that's my toy. Let me show you
Just
the
a
greatness.
bunch of cards.
It is just a bunch of cards. KeyForge. Okay, this was a source of more than mild amusement for me when they first came out because this is a game that has unique decks of cards. Apparently, the very first print run of said decks, the randomizer had not been, shall we say, edited. Vetted, possibly. And so there were some oddly not politically correct card deck names and things. So there's some funny and questionable names. We have some really derpy ones too. I have Zorion Wicked Alley Ender. So I don't know. The end of the alley is very scary sounding. Extrodvox of the Hunter's Battlefield. Blaze the Muscled. Yay. Blaze the Muscled. Overgrown Rose of the Repository. I mean, just ridiculously random, crazy names. Cool thing is, pre-made, ready-to-go decks. And the goal of the game is to forge some keys faster than your opponent. So it's a deck. It's like it's not really a deck builder per se because you already have the deck, but it's like
it's a Magic clone.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like a CCG without being the CC part. It's not collectible. It's without the C. It's pre-set up card game. It's another one of those where you play your stuff, pay out, blah blah blah, draw your cards, next kind of game. Love it. I love the way it sets it up too because you've got, I think it's in here. Do we have them in here? Yeah, we do. All the little bits. So you got the little bits for the game. You're trying to build up and forge these keys. I think you can see a little bit through the glare there. The keys are the glowy bits there. But you have to do that. You have to collect energy tokens to do that and be able to unlock them and get the key forged and built. You have to do that 3 times to win the game. So there's 3 different keys. And these little gold nuggets are the little energy bits or whatever. And it's interesting because you can collect them. Your warriors can collect them individually. You can steal them from other people. It's one of those struggles. You want to build up an engine of it, but you want to be able to spend them as fast as you can because you have to collect 7, which is such a huge number because they're not easy to get all these energies for it. Chances are he's going to attack me and steal them before I get a chance to spend it. Because you build those at the at the very beginning of your turn. You have to decide if you're building a key. So if you develop it during your turn and you're like, yeah, I have my 7 energy now, I have to wait till the beginning of my next turn to be able to do it. So that's when your opponent comes in and is like, haha, they're ready. They're ready for the attack, And
a lot of times if you have a lot of energy, it's easier to steal from your opponent.
Yeah.
Once you get to certain levels of energy, it's easier to steal them.
And it's neat because, the cards are all, again, there's special factions to them. They all have factions that play off of each other, too. And you can choose which faction you're going to play each turn. So I can't, your deck, you'll notice, has 3 different unique marks on them. you pick one of the 3 factions of which card you're going to play during your turn. So the thing is, when I do something like that, that's when he might pick to attack the group that I had already, that I hadn't played, I hadn't tapped out or whatever, because he knows that I'll be using them right away to do a bunch of stuff. Or, I mean, there's some cards that let you play other factions. Each player loses half. Oh, I forgot there's different action cards too, where you can just lose half of your stuff. There's event cards, so to speak, you can play out to attack people. The fighting in this is pretty fun, because it's not, again, you're not trashing them out of the game. You're just discarding them, and they hopefully will cycle back through for you.
Yeah, you don't have health like in most of these games. You're just it's a race to get enough energy to build the keys. There's not a health. Yeah. You can't attack the other player per se. Although I think some creatures, if you do damage to the other player, you take energy away from them and things like that. But you don't have hit points. You can't lose that way. Yeah.
And there's some that are okay with, they like take the damage off of people and take it to themselves. And I mean, it's a lot of typical like CCG style attack and defense cards and things like that. It's a lot of fun. Trying to think of what else there is to it. I think the uniqueness of this, I mean, it's not one of those where the gameplay itself, you're like, whoa, this is so incredibly different. It's very similar to a lot of other card games. I really enjoy it. The mat's not that expensive, really, and it's super fun to play. I mean, they come with little mats, but they're paper and already. I mean, I've hardly used these, and you can tell they're kind of worn and beat up. Really, really, really like the ridiculous individualized decks that are unique. And some, they're pretty well balanced. We've noticed that there's some that seem to play better or more successfully against others. There's a little bit of a off balance to that, but not so much that we're like, this isn't a viable deck. I've never felt like it wasn't a good enough to actually play, if that makes sense. So you don't have to go crazy like I did, and buy 12 different decks. That was mostly for amusement. It's the the names and stuff in the different factions. You just need a couple decks and you can go with it. In fact, the starter box sets you up with everything you need.
Yeah, but they come with I think they come with 2 standard decks that everyone gets, and then 2 booster unique decks. I think is usually
so you have what you need. You don't need to go buying the extras. You can just get this, and it has all the bits in it. These are just little extra packs.
A lot of these bits are my bits that I put in here.
That's true. We added some extra.
Yeah, I actually added little cubes and things instead of the cardboard shits. I put little cubes and stuff in
there.
We
kind of souped it up a little bit.
Yeah,
that's true too. So, but yeah, you do need something, and the box does give you the basics.
Yeah, it's everything you need to play. Well, the starter kits do. If you go out and just buy decks, you're not going to have everything.
You're just going to have the deck. That's it. So that's something to keep in mind too. But again, it's not that expensive for the starter kit.
Yeah,
they're
like
pretty
$20
cheap.
or something.
So again, to have a full start for the game, you want to add some extra spice, get some crazies.
This is not on my list.
I'm a bigger fan of card games.
I'm not a big fan of CCG type games.
Yeah,
I used to be heavy into them way back, but I kind of got burned out on them.
I was gonna say you played Magic a lot.
I had a craze of the Dice Masters for a while, and then I burned out on that. So I'll play. I won't say no. I'm not gonna play that.
No.
It wouldn't be my pick to play.
Yep. So that was 53. KeyForge, Call of the Archons, or what's the other one called?
I don't know.
There's 2, but
3, 4,
3 now. 4. They're not all that different. Okay, so my number 52 was 71. I think the more I play this, the more I just enjoyed it. So this is kind of settled.
I'm excited to see.
Are you?
Will it be on my list?
Probably not.
Oh, dear.
Probably not. That is
no.
Azul, Stained Glass of Sintra.
Oh, no.
This is, I believe, my favorite of the Azuls. I'm pretty sure.
Spoilers.
No, it's not spoilers if it's my favorite. Stained Glass, I'm pretty sure.
Spoilers.
Make sure this is the one I think it is.
Yes.
Yep, it is.
Best.
Yep, it's the one I like the best. Oh my gosh. Have you played Azul? If you haven't, you need to play it. And then you need to go play this one, because it's like a twist on it. I like this one better. This is my favorite of all of them. It's even better than the, what is it, Summer Pavilion or whatever it's called.
Yes.
This is my favorite. This is the middle
Summer
one.
Pavilion? I don't know. Some pavilion.
Something Pavilion. Scoreboard. Okay. Like the other Azuls, you're going to have tiles this time. They kind of look more like cough drops instead of starbursts. So here's your cough drops. You can see them. Okay. They look like those. They make a nice clacky sound. Very good. Very cool little Azul bag. Once again, you have, as I call them, the coasters. You set out a ring of these coasters, and you're going to put out 4 of each, randomly, of each little tile out on these, and you're going to pick in the same sort of style as you do with the other Azul. You're picking one color, and however many of that color there are, you take all of them off of that circle and put the rest in the middle. And then you're going to go up and put things on this board. Now, each of you have a board like this, and then there's all these other extra pieces that go all the way across, like so, okay? And you're going to fill in the pattern. You've got whites and then yellows. Once you've done that, then you take everything off, clear it, you get the victory points, you score, and put one of your pieces down here to help remember that you conquered that one. Flip it over and put it there. Then you try to fill this one in. This one is all whites. That would be exciting. That would be tough. So once you do that, then you get to put another one of your tiles down here. And hey, 2 victory points a pop. Plus, you score. There's a whole bunch of different little scoring things. They're pretty simple, though. The goal is to get as many of these gone as possible and get as many victory points as possible. This is such a pretty game. It's the same weight as the other Azul. It's not
the same. It's a little more complicated. The hair more complicated.
Almost not worth measuring, to be completely honest. And if you've played Azul before, this is like 30-second teach on the rest of it. It's like, okay, this is what's different. Basically how all this works. And that's it.
Yep.
You already know how to play the rest of the game. It is really pretty again. I like the twist from the original game. I still think this is another one of those that you can easily teach to a lot of people. And people are going to get hooked on this one too. I've played this with people at conventions and friends and family too. And what are you doing? Where are you going? What you doing?
It's very packed.
I know it was packed.
It's not how it's supposed to be packed.
I know, it kind of slipped, I think. It's all good. Anywho, really pretty game, really fun game. Medium light? Light? It's
medium light, medium.
I'd say medium light. Yeah, it floats away according to Hunter, but no, it's just, I can't say enough about the Azuls. I really like the Azul games. They're very, I mean, they can get cutthroat, don't get me wrong, but I feel they're very peaceful to play. I don't know, I guess because you're playing with the pieces and puzzling out how to put everything. It's just a lot of fun.
Well, I gotta say my piece.
Oh, do you? Okay, I'm curious now.
So I have 3 things to say.
Do you?
1, it's my favorite Azul.
Whoa!
2, I don't like abstract games. And 3, it's not on my list.
No one's surprised by this. That's true. I mean, the theme is...
There is no theme.
The theme is to make the art look cool. That's what that is. And I'm okay with that. Because again...
I like all 3 of the Azuls. They're all...
They really
What's
are
funny
all
is
good.
I rate all 3 since I only do whole numbers for whatever reason. Someday I'm gonna
You're gonna break it down?
branch out and do halves.
Right.
I rate them all a 7.
Okay.
But I like them differently.
I got you. You got a 7 and a 7.2 and a 7.5 kind of thing going on? Okay. Yeah, I do some halves. I just realized I did rank some halves.
And 7s don't make my list, so there you go.
Okay. Last but not least for today, it's been punished.
Punitation!
My
must
51.
Must be something I love.
It is. It was my 37. It is now my 51. It's still a game that I absolutely love, and I think it is suffering from lack of play in quite a long time. Because I think the last time you played it, I wasn't even playing with you.
No, we're not.
So it's been a really long time since I've gotten to play this game, and I really want to play it again. I need to take like a month off to catch up on all these games.
We got talking bits to
Oh, this game, Merchants and Marauders. This is sandbox piratey goodness. Okay, you are a pirate sailing around the Caribbean. You are going into different ports, doing trades, building up your ship, hiring crew, doing this and that. If you've got what's it called? Seas of Glory? Seas of Glory expansion. It's got stuff like crew morale and weather changes and all of this craziness. There's like, I don't even remember, 10 expansion bits.
I think it's more like 15.
14, 15. It's crazy, the crazy number. But in the base game, you still have plenty of choices without
11.
that. 11. There you go.
And 5 variants.
That's a lot. That's so many. You're going to go through this and you can decide to be, more of a merchant. Or you can totally go full pirate on people and go and rob their ships and rob random NPC stuff and go make yourself an enemy of different countries and have bounties put on your head. I mean, it is hilarious. You can go through all these things. I know that personally, depending on who's playing, I will go the merchant route because usually everybody spends their time duking it out. Hunter and his best friend usually end up trying to kill each other and over pirating, and I would sit and quietly do merchant things back and forth and sell because I figured eventually they'd kill themselves off and then I'd be just winner by default. That worked for a while. Then you guys kind of caught on to my scheme.
Yeah.
It's a funny game.
This game is plummeting for me.
Is it? Why?
It's down to 75 now.
Wow. That's
because
crazy.
last time we played, we found a flaw in the game.
Really?
And there's a variant that fixes it.
Okay.
What's funny is we don't like that variant when we play.
But for multiplayer,
multiplayer, we almost need it. It says basically you can be a merchant, and if you can go from port to port and stay in a port the entire game, no one can kill you.
That's messed up.
And
yeah.
you just win the game that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's too easy.
There's a variant though that you can scout as soon as they leave the city. If they pass by you, you can scout and attack them. So you can stop them. You just wait outside the city for them to come out, and you can kill them. But we don't like that variant when we play because we don't do that. But someone, I can't remember who it was, but I played with Power Game that. I think it may have been the infamous Tommy Power Game that by going port to port to port. And there's nothing that we could do. I'm like, okay, you win.
That's crazy, huh?
Yeah, but there's
Sneaky
it's called
pirates.
The Cutthroat variant, and I highly recommend playing that if you have people
that makes sense though. I mean, with multiplayer, 2-player, it's almost like you're
you can still
hanging
do it.
out and camping out.
You can still do it 2-player though. It's the thing.
Yeah.
But in 2-player, we wander off and kind of do our own thing anyway.
Because we like to race by getting the money thing going and.
Anyway, I love this game. It's just there is other sandbox games that annihilate this game in my mind. This one, with lots of players, the turns are really long. The game is extremely long. It says 3 hours, and that's probably a understatement. If you do 4 players, this is probably a 4 or 5 hour game. Just because the way the game works is that when you go into port, there's 1,000 things you can do, and you want to do all 1,000 of them. Yeah. And you could say, okay, when you port, I can go ahead and start my turn, but I might not want to do that because I see here buying guns and buying a bigger ship and powering up. I'm like, I don't want to be anywhere near her, so I want to know what she's going to do. So I need to wait to see what she does in port. Most sandbox games now, when you do a port action, they design it in such a way that the next person starts doing their turn while you're doing your port stuff, which would speed this game up a lot, but this game is so cutthroat. You really want to know what a person's going to do. But
cutthroat pirate game.
Cutthroat.
Get it?
But yeah, I enjoy this game quite a bit. It's just kind of a beast that just takes a while. I'd probably enjoy playing this 2-player probably more than anything, even though there's a lot less interaction. But there's plenty of other things to do. You can attack merchants. You can attack other NPCs. You can do other things. But yeah, it's a great game. It's just there's other sandbox games. Western Legends and Zaya and things like that I enjoy more than this one. And when I go to pull this one out, it's like, oh, but I could play Western Legends. So it's kind of dropping. Go ahead. You're back to you.
No, you're good. You're good. You made some good points. So how much does a pirate pay for his corn? A buccaneer. Okay, I'm better now. All right, so wait, come on. I know you're waiting to tell me one of your pirate jokes.
No.
Yeah, you are.
No.
Nothing?
What's a pirate's favorite restaurant?
I should know this. I don't know.
Arby's.
Gross! I love it. Okay. I feel
So
better
anyway,
now. I was waiting for
this
that.
one, I think honestly, I think the reason why it's staying high on your list and it's dropping on my list is that you've played almost all your games 2 players.
Almost
And
all
I've
of them.
played, I've played
Mini multis. now.
probably the majority of my games with 3 or 4 players. And,
That's true. I've played shorter games.
And the 2-player
makes sense.
game is kind of
That makes sense.
It kind of goes a lot quicker. The turns
Yeah.
are quicker. You don't have to wait for 3 other people to take their turn before you get your turn. She takes her turn, then now it's my turn. I take my turn, then it's her turn. It
makes sense. It makes sense. It's just the choices you make in this game are so stinking funny. Yeah, you're right about the time thing. This isn't as tight of a game. It's older. What year did this come out?
10.
Okay.
2010.
And it seems like, especially like you said, the sandbox games have so much more streamlining in them.
And there's things
now.
going on other people's turns that you care about, right?
Yeah. But they make sure that you're watching when those bits are happening, and in any of the like just setting up for the next turn stuff, that's going on while somebody else is already moving on, so you don't need to pay attention.
Like
to
Zaya's that way. You can choose
you
to
reset.
wait, but
you don't
can
have to.
start your turn if you want to.
This game, again, hasn't really been set up to do that, like we both kind of said there, and it really is important to actually pay attention to that, so it is a bit of you've got that wait time thing going on.
Yeah, and they could trade out the goods that you want to buy in the city. You're like, I was heading there, and now you taking the goods, and then in port, and they changed up things, and it just...
Yeah, it's interesting. But it's the choices and the things that you can do in this game are so fun.
Yeah.
It's hilarious to
It's a
watch
great game.
people get the pirate flags, and there's also events where some of the countries are at war. So if you have... if your ship is of this particular nationality, you can't go to those ports right now because they're at war. Like, there's all this little crazy side stuff going on that's really fun and very think on your feet crazy stuff, right?
Yep.
It's a load of fun. But that is my 60 through 51 today.
We're done!
I know.
When did that happen?
And you didn't fall out of your chair. You're remarkably calm. I think
This was not as a solid a section as your last one.
Really?
No.
Ooh, I think you're slowly going to start feeling a little bit better and better about the list.
I'm not feeling better about all these games I have circled.
They're pretty amazing. I'm just saying.
All these games I have circled. Oh,
so many.
I'm gonna
games.
so cry when you're done. Oh.
Because it's over, or because
No, because there's so many of my favorite games that didn't make your list.
We'll see. I think there's a bit of overlap as we get closer to the top. We'll see. Find out when we talk about the worst of the best next time. Bye.